Epistemological concepts of Lokasamgraha and Nishkamakarma. In this video, we will understand thoroughly the concept of Nishkamkarma and the concept of Lokasamgraha, the types of karmas, and we'll find out whether there is any similarity between these two concepts or whether they go hand in hand or not. And lastly, we will also deal with understanding the concepts which are similar to these two in the Western philosophy. Please note, these two topics are newly added in the current syllabus. The concept of Lokasamgraha means universal welfare or universal well-being. Epistemologically speaking, the word Lokasamgraha is derived from two words, Loka, which means mankind, and Samgraha means protection or regulation or welfare. As a result, Lokasamgraha means universal welfare or universal well-being. The concept is mentioned in the teachings of Lord Krishna given to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, the object of all action should fall under the domain of Lokasamgraha, which means to say that whatever action a person performs in life must always be attributed towards the social benefit of the whole, that is, the social benefit of all people. Some of the very famous experts from Bhagavad Gita on the concept of Lokasamgraha are Yoga Karmasu Kausalam. Here, Lord Krishna says one should strive for yoga, which is excellence in action. This is also called Karma Yoga. Vanijya Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. Here Lord Krishna says one must only perform those duties which come naturally to the person and strive for excellence in those duties which could be related to commerce or public welfare, etc. Lokasamgraham ivapi sampayasam kartum arhasi. Here Lord Krishna says, for the sake of educating people, one must perform one's work diligently. Chikirsur Loka Sangraham. Here Lord Krishna says, one must perform the work which comes naturally to the person and only do that by keeping in mind the concept of social well-being. In short, these famous verses convey the message that one must strive for yoga, which is excellence in action, through commerce or the work which comes naturally to the person for the sake of educating people. One must perform one's work by keeping the concept of social well-being in mind alone. When we talk about the concept of Lokasamgraha, we find that there is a similarity with the Western concept which is called altruism. Altruism basically means disinterestedness or selfless concern for the well-being of the others. As we have already discussed, the concept of Lokasamgraha gives the same message. Nishkamakarma means selfless action or desireless action. Basically, it means performing an action without keeping into mind the result or the fruits that that action will bear. It is the central tenet of Karma Yoga, which is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. According to the Gita, it is important to keep into mind that the actions performed in Karma Yoga are pure actions. The reason why they are called pure action is because they do not carry any involvement or self-interest or anything that a person would want to do for their own benefit. Please note, this does not mean that the action performed without any involvement is a negative action. Rather, it is an action performed with a balanced view or with an indifferent attitude towards the result or the consequences of that action. Therefore, it would be wrong to say that the pure actions or the actions of Nishkamakarma are negative in nature. As a result, we can say that mindfulness or evenness of the mind are the central ideas of Nishkamakarma. Some of the famous experts from Bhagavad Gita on the concept of Nishkamakarma are verse 47, where Lord Krishna says, Action alone, thou aright, and never at all to its fruit. Let not the fruit of action by thy motive, neither let there be in thee any attachment to inaction. Likewise, verse 2.48 says, Fixed in yoga, do thy work, O winner of wealth Arjuna, abandoning the attachment with an even mind in success and failure, for evenness of mind is called yoga. Likewise, there's a verse 5.11 which talks about body with the mind, with the intellect, even merely with the senses, the yogi performs action towards self-purification. Basically, the entire idea behind these important verses is nothing but giving the message that Nishkamakarma means action. It does not mean inaction or desire less of action. Rather, it means an action which is performed only for the sake of that action or desirelessness in action. Hence, the result or the fruits of that action are not to be taken into consideration while performing the action. According to Lord Krishna, one who performs such actions is called a karma yogi. In order to understand the concept of Nishkamkarma better, it is important that we understand the concept which is just the opposite of it, which is called the Sakamkarma. As we have already discussed, Nishkamkarma means an action that is performed without any desire for the fruit or the end result of it. Such an action, according to Bhagavad Gita, uproots bestiality in a man and confers divinity upon him. Basically, it brings a person on the path of self-liberation or closer to God. Therefore, selflessness in action or desirelessness in action is a means of spiritual progress or moksha as they call it. It is important to note that Nishkamakarma deals with sattva guna or internal qualities which lead one to calmness and peace. On the other hand, we have a concept of Sakamkarma which is just the opposite of Nishkamakarma. Under Sakamkarma, the actions are performed only because of one's own self-interest or because of one's desires associated with the result of that action. Meaning to say, when a person performs an action because one wants something out of it, it comes under the concept of Sakamkarma. They are hence called self-centered actions. Sakamkarma deals with Rajas Guna. As a result, these actions bring desires, selfishness, agony, misery and aggression. Right now we are talking about the gunas that Nishkamakarma deals with Sattva Guna and Sakamkarma deals with Rajas Guna. I hope you understand there are three gunas in Indian philosophy: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva brings peace, Rajas brings agony or aggression, and Tamas brings laziness. The three gunas are an important concept in the Sankhya school of Indian philosophy. When we study the concept of Nishkamakarma, we find a similarity of the same concept within the Western philosophy. That is, we are talking about Kant's ethical theory, which deals with duty for duty's sake. This means, according to Kant, the duty is performed only for the sake of performing the duty itself, and not for the desired results or fruits from the performance of that duty. According to Gita too, a man should perform all his actions in life keeping into mind the concept of Nishkamakarma. Hence, there is a similarity between the two concepts. Some of the famous Indian thinkers have advocated these two concepts such as Nishkamakarma and Lokasamgraha in their philosophies. For example, Gandhi and Tilak. Mahatma Gandhi advocated for the concept of Karma Yoga, Nishkamakarma and Lokasamgraha. Gandhi writes in his works, a karma yogi through his trade or occupation gains knowledge of perfection and knowledge of self-realization. Simply put, Gandhi believed that a karma yogi, by surrendering the desire for fruit or the consequences of one's actions, receives endless rewards in return, because he treats his work as a prayer or worship or ritual, or as we call it in Hindi, puja. Tilak has emphasized a lot on the concept of Lokasamgraha or universal welfare. He is regarded as the father of Indian nationalism. He was the first commentator who writes in his commentary on the Gita, called the Gita Bhashya, that Lord Krishna's teachings were just not for Arjuna but for all of us Indians equally. He believed that it is not the duty of just a few Indians but a duty of all the Indians to work together and work for the social and political awareness of the rest of the Indians who are uneducated or not privileged. Such an act of serving the people, according to Tilak, would count as an act of Nishkamakarma, which would in itself lead to Lokasamgraha or universal welfare. Simply put, he meant that we must all work selflessly for the welfare of the humanity or for the welfare of all, which is only possible via the concept of Nishkamakarma or selflessness in action. Therefore, we can conclude that Lokasamgraha and Nishkamkarma are the two sides of the same coin. When we talk about individual dimension, we take the name of Nishkamakarma, for it deals with a person or an individual person to do one's work without any interest, desires, etc. On the other hand, when we talk about the social dimension, we take the name Lokasamgraha. For Lokasamgraha is only possible when each and every one of us treats one's work like one's duty. Question 1. The concept of Lokasamgraha has been taken from. The correct answer is Bhagavad Gita. Question 2. Gita Bhashya is the commentary on Gita by. The correct answer is Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Question number 3 is match the following. The correct answer for it is social dimension deals with the concept of Lokasamgraha, individual dimension deals with the concept of Nishkamakarma, altruism is also known as Lokasamgraha, which means universal welfare of all. Lastly, duty for duty's sake is Kant's ethical theory, which is similar to the concept of Nishkamakarma. Question 4. Sakam Karma contains. The correct answer is Rajas Guna. Sakam Karma only deals with Rajas Guna, due to which it causes more pain, more agony, more aggression and more desires in a person. Question 5. Gandhi advocated for. The correct answer is altruism, karma yoga, nishkamakarma. That is all of the above. The trick here is, although Gandhi never himself mentioned the concept altruism in his work, but he has often mentioned the concept of Lokasamgraha, which is universal welfare of all, which is just the word altruism in English.